My sister, who lives quite a distance from us, came in for a family party, and she's a speech pathologist and audiologist. And she said, "What are you doing with her? Her eye contact is unbelievable. She initiates conversation now. She comes up to a family member and says, 'Hi, Aunt Mimi, how are you?' And just carries on a conversation that she never did before." And then, like, even the sensory stuff, hugging people. My mother commented, like, "Wow, she comes up to me now and hugs me." And it shows the affection that she never did before. It was just amazing to hear that from our family members, because we just took it for granted, because we're with her every day. And then Jill, the school has been wonderful with regards to us having the system itself. Jill and I would text each other, "Okay, she was done with this. I want you to do this day." So then, I would do that with her. But with some of the exercises, like we did our own stuff, our own exercises and things like that, we had lots of fun with it, took it a step further. And it's amazing to see. She's going into 5th grade now, and her self-esteem, unbelievable. And the friends that she has now, because she was very much a loner too. Didn't have many friends. And the kids looked at her as being a little different too. Mm-hmm. And now it's amazing. Like, we don't even see her now. Yeah. She's up the hill with the girls up the hill. It's like, wow. And walking with them and initiating conversation. Things that she never did before.
She was struggling very badly in school. I mean, it's really heartbreaking for a parent to sit there and look at your child, and she looks at you and says, "I hate school. I don't want to go. Don't make me go. I don't want to go." And it's just, it's not like they're being tortured here, but evidently in her mind, it was torture. It was. She couldn't deal with the learning aspects, the social interaction. She couldn't handle all of this. It just, what Jill has accomplished and the rest of the team has accomplished here in bringing ILS in, it really turned her life around, and that's something for a small child.
We're grateful,
and not to mention for a parent.
Yeah. We're grateful to the team. It's been, oh my God, can't say There've been a couple of times I've cried.
Yeah, because you're sitting there and all you want to do is make you want to help, because you understand the difficulty and the problems that society brings. That there is so much pressure on success and if they don't get it now, the whole foundation of the rest of their lives is going to be affected. Just to realize that your child is going to have the right foundation. They've got the building blocks in place so that they can become successful and not become a statistic. That's huge.
I think to piggyback off of that, my son has auditory processing, and he started off in kindergarten what we expected to be a normal kindergarten experience, and we found that he struggled. He couldn't read, he couldn't follow and keep up with the math, and it turned into tears every night at bedtime. "Don't make me go to school, I can't do school, I don't understand." And the frustration level escalated to the point where he was so anxious at night. He was having night terrors, he was walking in his sleep, and he would break out in hives before going to school in the morning because he was so terrified to go to school, because he knew that he just wasn't where his peers were. Once we were able to get a plan into place and he started ILS later on, that anxiety level just plummeted, and he was sleeping through the night. And his migraines that he was on medication for, we didn't need that medication anymore. And we don't see the night terrors, and we don't see the sleepwalking, and we see a little guy who has the confidence to play with his peers on the playground and to talk about all of the friends on the school bus and to engage with all of the other kids, because he has that skill set now. And even though he is different and he realizes that he is different than his peers in terms of his school capabilities, that's okay. And he doesn't fight about going to school in the morning because he knows when he gets here he has all of his teachers, and he looks forward to going and meeting his friends.
These are two families, because I know the families from when they come in and sometimes even before, that have children that it wasn't that they came to school and all of a sudden they had difficulties. These are families that knew there were difficulties early on, and they'd been searching, they'd been doing things outside, talking with doctors, talking with occupational therapists, doing a whole variety of things to try to resolve what they could see were growing issues. And without a lot of success. And then the kids came to school and it became even more apparent. And then we came to that, I think, position of the kids saying, I don't want to go there. I don't want to do it. It's hard for me. It's not a comfortable place for me. And until ILS came along, I think it was really our challenge to say, okay, we're going to do the best we can do for these kids. We're not really sure either what's going on, but we'll do a little of this and we'll do a little of that, and if we see some growth, that'll be great. But this has been, for anybody that's participated in it, it's just unbelievable the kinds of gains we've been able to see, really. It's really, I think, life-changing for these kids.
Students in the beginning of the year, how they would just be very, just really lacked confidence, academically, socially, even just being able to make eye contact. And then towards the end of the year, having no issues in the classroom. We had a student teacher, and she could not figure out who the students were that had an IEP. And that was huge for me, to be able to say, well, who do you think? and it was so neat, because if she would have come in at the beginning of the year, that would have been very different. And coming in a large group of students and saying, really, like, auditory processing, this program has been that successful. And I see the students in a small group, but I also see them, I push in and we do a large group. And to be able to see their confidence not only be, very high in the small group, which hopefully, that's what it should be in the smaller group, but in the larger group, to be able to raise their hand and answer questions and participate and want to get involved in discussions with their peers. I've said before, and I'm not an expert at this at all, but just from what I've seen, I kind of picture it as these students, they come to me with all these skills. I'm not receiving a child that, doesn't have skills. That's not it at all. But they have all these skills very isolation. Mm-hmm. And it's my challenge to kind of bring that out and to, connect it. But I feel like really this program has been the connector.
And he's proud of it. And there wasn't that proud, I can do that attitude before. And he was very shy about sharing anything. And now everybody knows everything about our lives at Parkdale. there are no secrets at our house. So, I guess it's a good thing, but it's given him that confidence to talk to anybody and to make friends and step out of his boundary a little bit.
My little guy has gone to summer school since he was 8 months old. I knew there were sensory issues and speech problems. You could not understand them. I had trouble understanding him as his mother, and I always had to translate for him all the time. And there wasn't a letter that came home saying he had to go to summer school, and I thought, well, maybe he didn't bring it home. Called up the school, and first time he doesn't need summer school. And in 2 months, he progressed 1 year reading level, and he is just a different child. He just is so confident, like you said, and just, in the classroom, he's raising his hand and he's telling his second grade teacher, I know how to solve this, and she loves that he thinks outside of the box, and he can tell you step by step, where before he could never do that. He was so overwhelmed by the whole process and crying when he had to do homework, and now he's like, you don't need to look at this. She says I'm doing a great job. I got it. I got it, Mom. I'm okay. And the most wonderful Christmas present that I ever received, I call it the miracle pill. My little guy, when I went for conference, and they were asking me how he sleeps, I'm like, at 6 months, he jumped out of his crib. I'm like, I've had the mattress on the ground ever since he was 6 months old, and he's always rolling. So you go into the room, and he's laying this way, then he's laying this way, and he's laying this way, and I'm like, he's never slept a night through, I don't think. He's just always moving. He's, even running, like in his sleep and everything. And she said, okay, they ran and got me this dream pad, and they said, just try this dream pad. I tried it, and I called up the next day, like crying. I'm like, Alexander slept the whole night through. He woke up, and he was confident. He could think. I mean, my poor little guy never slept the whole night through. He was constantly moving, and he had never slept the whole night through. And he loves the pillow. He lays on it, and he's just like, oh, listen to this. And he just, isn't this amazing, Mommy? Just listen to this. And he goes, and he goes right to sleep, and he sleeps the whole night through. I mean, it is absolutely, I call it the miracle pill. It has changed our life. It really has. He also had the night terrors and walking in his sleep, but just to wake up and be like, hi, Mommy, here I am, and smiling ear to ear, it's just like, you can sleep. You never had sleep.
Something as basic.
I know.
Sleep.
It's
And they're happy
Yeah,
in
they're
the morning.
beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's so happy.
I don't think I could give you enough credit. They've really been so dedicated to making this program work, and I think that's why it's really been so successful as well.
I think you're right. Hey, Jill.
And I have to say too, though, for Alexander, he was one of my biggest challenges. I mean, he walked in to my speech room and I went, oh boy, okay. And it was tough because he was so impulsive and he had sensory needs. I mean, this is a little boy who, it's springtime and he's in his wind pants that are probably a couple sizes too small because that's what's comfortable. And doing oral motor therapy was very challenging. He didn't want me anywhere near his mouth, and sequencing those sounds in order was very challenging. And I'm very proud to say he's very much intelligible at this point, I think. But that was my thought coming in, going, okay, I've got to do something for this child, and I need to make a difference for him, and thinking, going to all my books and all my things, and how am I going to do this? And he's come a long way. But I said yesterday, as a therapist, there's so many times that we think, okay, if we just had another arm, or we just had one more way to turn, do one more thing to target different centers of the brain and turn them all on at the same time, or you see some of that anxiety and go, okay, if there was just something I could help them with that, so they could access all those great skills that they do have. And then ILS came around, and we thought, oh my goodness, this is what we've been looking for. This is our other arm. This is that magic tool in our kit that lets us turn on all those different centers of the brain at the same time. And it's so powerful for me because I get to help families like you, but we get to let the kids know how awesome they really are. Mm-hmm. You see what's in there. You see their potential. You see, like Ashley said, how great they are in isolation at certain things. And you're like, man, I just wish I could bring it together so that everybody else could see all the amazing things they're capable of. And this has allowed us to do that. It's been incredible, but I'm so proud of all of the kids, but watching Alexander be able to have a conversation with his friends and be understood. Watching Gavin come in on a morning he has a substitute and say, that's fine, I'm going to have a great day anyway. Seeing Mary Kate actually hopping down the hallway in the morning, what's up, Mrs. Essay? I mean, this is a girl who last summer, poor dad had to call me and go, we're not coming. I can't get her in the car. It's not happening. Maybe tomorrow. And now she transitioned so well. She's ready for middle school. It does. I was sitting in the corner crying because she's ready, and she's ready for that new challenge. Alexander's ready to have a summer to himself.
I know. It's the first. It's the first summer without
something. Yeah.
That's
so,
awesome.
It has been.
And my Alexander, where I'm always like, I know I'm alive. He has sat through the fireworks for the first time without going like this. Normally we go to someone's house because you can't take the sounds. And when we would be at church, I mean, people would look at us, he would just like scream out, "Take this off of me, I can't take the feel, this, the clothing, the tactile." He doesn't have that anymore. I mean, I think people would look at me like, what on earth are you doing to your child? And I mean, I would try to have a whole bunch of different clothes we could change into, but he can't take the feel of certain textures. And now, you know, we can sit there and, you know, no one's looking at us. We're doing good. We fit right in.